man's got fire and a wild hot take. Andrew's stats make the whole place shake. Laughing loud when your team goes down. Straub boys run this sports town. Show! Sundays, Mondays, we live for the fight. College game day and Thursday night. Rivals fall and the banter flies. We bleed our teams till the day we die. S-T-R-A-U-E. Two loud mouths and a love for the league. From Cleveland roots to the world we go. This is the Straub Bro Sports Show. Show.
Bang, that's how you hit it. Welcome everybody to the Straub Bro Sports Show, a special birthday edition. I would not be able to start the show if I didn't take a second, although I called you earlier this morning, to give some love and wish a very special happy birthday to my younger brother over there. Bro, I love you. I have a special video awaiting you on Facebook when you're done. Go and check that out. And I would like to see your reaction to it. I did spoil that it was a video. I mean, you didn't really think it was just a regular post, did you? Come on now. But happy birthday to you, bro. I love you. How drunk are you getting tonight? Just joking.
I'm going to say 1, thank you. 2, unfortunately, I have now changed from college student to full-time working adult. And that means all of the drinking, which will still be not as much as I was in college, will be shifted over to Friday, which then Saturday will be a day of rest and recovery.
Saturday will be a mini day of rest and recovery because you're coming to the Guardians game with me, okay? And we're going to turn it back up, so you better get some sleep in the morning. Real quick, Ray sending you some birthday love. Anna, our owner of the Rapids, sending you some birthday love. Head coach of the Rapids, Coach Singleton, sending you some birthday love. And once again, hearing from our Oos, wishing some love too. So yes, happy birthday to you, Drew. I appreciate you for doing the show with me still today. I'm not gonna lie, I may have skipped our own show for my own birthday, so we'll see what happens when it finally falls on a Thursday.
Yours is on, so yours is on Sunday this week. It's fine.
Oh yeah, so we're good. So all right, well, welcome everybody to the Straub Bro Sports Show. As I said, big bro rocking with you with little bro Drew. Drew, we got a lot to talk about. We have a lot of NFL, huge week 1. A big week in college, but real quick, I got to mention something because we're not going to spend too much time about it because every time we talk about them, we jinx them. But don't look now, ladies and gentlemen. With only a couple games left in the season, your Cleveland Guardians are only 2.5 games out of the wild card. Lost last night, which was a major one that could have really helped us. But, Drew, we're not going to talk too much about it, but we're going to talk about it.
So, obviously, you got Kansas City tonight, and then you got Chicago in the weekend. However, then you go Detroit, Minnesota, Detroit, Texas. And so, listen, we've been able to beat Detroit before when we were kind of not the favorites against like a very hot Detroit team. If we come into that second Detroit series after winning maybe this first Detroit series, then we can start talking about it and like, okay, what do we have to do here? But until then, I am going to resign my faith to somehow the Cleveland Browns because I don't believe that this Cleveland team is going to be able to take 4 out of 6 games from Detroit.
So you're saying there's a chance, that 4% chance that we had when we talked a couple of weeks ago of them making the playoffs, there's still a chance. Number one. Number 2, can we still bring Bazana up? Is it still possible? Is there a late call up available? And second, shout out to our guy Ant as well, our Rapids football player as well. You already know we rocking with you. All right, Drew. So we're gonna move on from the Guardians. All right.
Okay.
And we're going to head straight into some college ball. We had a lot of chalk, but let's take a look back real quick at the top 25. As I said, there was a lot of chalk for the most part, but Drew, there were 2 games that I mentioned last week that I said, hey, be careful. These are scary, scary things. And that was Arizona State. And it was also SMU. I apologize. I lost my train of thought. Arizona State traveling to Mississippi State in the SEC. A Pac-12 team traveling to the SEC. Drew, I said it would be tough. Boom. Mississippi State upsets Arizona State 24-20. And I told you this Baylor team was sneaky and SMU needed to be careful. And in double overtime, SMU loses to Baylor 48-45.
Yeah, I think the first one wasn't too much of a surprise. That Arizona State team I think got ranked just based off making the CFP last year. They lost a lot
100%.
of guys. They lost a lot of guys in the offseason and really didn't replace a lot and looked okay in that first game, but nothing too impressive. So not a surprise there. The way they lost was crazy and absolute just bombed down the field at the end of the game. Fantastic finish there. Also, some great finishes this weekend.
Shout out to your cousin who won a parlay off of that result and was screaming in my ear.
There we go. But then if we're talking about that Baylor SMU game, listen, we talked about last week and that Baylor game, and we're going to talk about the that Baylor again when we get there. They played a great offensive game. They just really don't have the defense to back it up. They're a real true Big 12 team. And so when you come up against a team like SMU, who basically is very, very similar, all you got to do is really stop them once. And that's exactly what they did. And shout out to Baylor and shout out to their quarterback, as we will talk a little bit later on my side.
Ooh. Now, we are going to hit the big games that we talked about last week, but real quick, I do want to point something else out too. Florida loses again to, or I should say South Florida clips their third straight ranked team in a row. That is pretty ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. Or I should say their second of the year. A great upset. This Florida team, there's a reason they were close to being their back team, but they just weren't because they're just not there yet. So that definitely one of your more surprising results. And then we're going to jump in to your ranked matchups here, because other than Clemson struggling 16-7 at half with Troy, it was pretty much chalk along the country. So let's hit your ranked matchups. The first one that we had, that noon matchup, Iowa State. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this awful game. I'm just going to keep it honest. I will say Rocco Beck chewed 6 minutes off the clock there to allow Kyle Canardi to kick what would become a game-winning 54-yard field goal with 1:52 left in the game. Iowa's offense could not respond, as they did not most of the day. I know who will not be on Drew's quarterback graphic this week, and that is Iowa's Mark Gronkowski, who went 13 for 24, 83 yards and a touchdown.
Yikes.
That's all I got.
No, yeah, listen, I thought this Iowa State team was a little bit more electric than they kind of showed to be there, but got the win.
This game always makes both of those teams look really bad.
Really bad. And so I guess I should have known better.
Right.
However, I think a win's a win for that Iowa State team. I think getting that game out of the way, getting into now kind of getting closer into Big 12 play, kind of staying on track there is just the best case scenario, because you're right. Regardless of how bad or good these teams are, for some reason, it's always just somewhat of a close game. I remember when Iowa was good for those couple years and Iowa State wasn't really good, and even those were close games.
Yeah.
And so good for Iowa State. Get that game out of the way. You got the win. Move on.
For years, Iowa State was the team that would trip Iowa up.
Yeah.
Our other big matchup of the week, Oklahoma State and Oregon.
We didn't call it. We did say Oregon would win by 50.
All I'm going to say is this. NIL, Cowboys fell. What Lassie? He's stuck in a well. Ducks by 60. Oregon 69, Oklahoma State 3. Be proud of that. I cooked that one up. Oregon 69, Oklahoma State 3. Dante Moore, 266 yards, 3 tutties. As Oregon hands Oklahoma State and head coach Mike Gundy his biggest loss in his tenure as a head coach at Oklahoma State. Bro, I tried to spin this to give the Cowboys as much motivation as possible, but you said it yourself. Why would you give a team this good motivation when the last time they had motivation like this, they put 60-something on Colorado? Why?
Because Mike Gundy doesn't know any better.
I know.
He's a talking kind of guy. And I think the issue is that this might be, listen, we love Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy is an absolute character. I think this loss, if not bounced back by multiple good wins throughout the year, I think this is where you kind of can point to and go, yeah, this was kind of the beginning of the end for Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, because you can't lose by 66 in a Power 5 school and expect to keep your job, especially if you've been on the downturn for years now. I don't think they've been really that good since Justin Blackman was their wide receiver. It's been tough sledding. So
I think that's Texas Tech. Or no, that is Justin Blackman. I was thinking of something. I was thinking of Graham Harrell, and you know who I'm talking about. Breaking news here on the Straub Sports Show. Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy on the hot seat. I will be able to bring this clip back if something ever is to happen, but I don't disagree with you. I mean, you can't start running your mouth like this and start complaining and then go get beat like this, because now the rest of the locker room is looking at you like, so we don't have enough money? So we don't have enough resources? So you're one of the highest paid, you're a high paid coach in college football, and we can't do better than a 60-something point loss to Oregon? I know Oregon's good, but damn. So I agree with you there. I got nothing left on there either. Our other one, our last one, our ranked game of the week, it turned out to be a good one. Michigan 13, Oklahoma 24. Drew, I'm back-to-back weeks of reading quotes from coaches, but I love this quote from Oklahoma coach Brent Venables after his team lifted him in the air after their win while they were playing Toby Keith's How Do You Like Me Now over the stadium loudspeakers. I'm embarrassed. That's a player's game, and a lot of other people were responsible for getting to that moment, and I don't want to take it away. Celebrate. What we do is hard, and you only get 12 opportunities guaranteed at the beginning of the year. Yeah. Bro, they did it. Oklahoma took care of business in a hard-fought Big Ten business-like game, not a shootout, not a last score wins, not a whoever gets the ball last. They grinded out a good win. Drew, you and I both said, but you specifically said that you were going to be very impressed with the winner of this game and looking forward for them. How big of a step did Oklahoma take for you?
I would say it's a good step. I wouldn't say it's a slingshot step. I wouldn't say they jumped. I would say it's 2 steps up. It's not a step up, it's 2 steps up. And I think in the sense that Michigan did what Michigan does, and they slowed the game down tremendously. They made that Oklahoma's offense work for it. They took the ball down the field slowly but surely offensively. But what this Oklahoma team did was they didn't get frustrated. They didn't try to overdo things. They took what Michigan gave them. They slowly drove down the field. They scored in every single quarter and had 5 minutes of possession. They went with Michigan and said, we'll play how you want us to play because we're going to beat you with it. And it's exactly what they did. John Mateer had an absolutely amazing game. Not top tier. I would say he did what he needed to do, but I think that's a very professional game, especially in a top 25 matchup. So the Oklahoma team has impressed me. They have a lot, I think, harder games that are coming up along. Texas, South Carolina, Tennessee, a typical SEC schedule. But this shows me now, hey, I am not going to, I guess, sorry, I'm losing my thoughts here.
That's okay. Because I got a question for you.
I'm not going to count them out of any of these big games, basically.
No, I agree with you there. The problem is they play in the SEC. Quick one-word answer for you, because the answer for me is yes. So I'm going to already let you know what my answer is. Would this team be more of a threat if it was a Big 12 schedule rather than the SEC?
Yes, they would be a CFP contender. Yeah.
Okay. I agree. I think the SEC is going to be the thing that hurts them. All right, Drew. I'm on kind of a roll here. We're on a bit of a hot streak. It's time to review last week big roast, big bets for college football. And Drew, we went 4-2 again in our locks. which brings us to 8-4 overall. And we nabbed 2 upsets last week, bringing us up to 3 total on the year. We nailed that that Louisville minus 13.5, but boy, did I sweat that one out. Illinois 3.5 over Duke. Syracuse 6.5 over UConn. Once again, we sweated that one out. The Ole Miss Kentucky over, my bad. Kansas versus Missouri over, lock that up.
Yeah.
West Virginia minus 3.5 over Ohio.
I will say, and I think everyone's kind of talked about it, so I won't go too much into it. This Ohio team is good.
I know.
I will say, like, when 2 years ago, when Miami of Ohio went undefeated and absolutely smoked them, this Ohio team is just as good as those guys. This Ohio team, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people, and I think that is an amazing win for a program that's kind of just been suffering for a long time.
I 100% agree. It's basically turned into a basketball school down there, and rightfully so. The Bobcats basketball team, especially the men's basketball team, is really good. But yeah, I was disappointed that they also ruined my parlay and upset West Virginia. But hey, and then on the upset side, we didn't get Boston College, but baby, Mississippi State over Arizona State. I told you that one. And Army, let's go Black Knights, get it done. Shout out to Army. So we're doing pretty good. We'll have more in store for you later. But first, it's time to get to this week's slate of games. We do have 2 teams off this week. That would be number 10, Florida State, and number 11, South Carolina. Shout out to Florida State, up 4 spots into number 10 this week. But Drew, we do have some big games. We do got some good games, but we've got also some chalk. I'm going to talk about more of those stuff in our big bets, but it's time for Straub Bros Big Saturday, and it gets us kicked off at 3:30 on ABC, one of our many huge college football implicating SEC ranked matchups, and it's a good one to start. A rivalry to get us kicked off. Number 6 Georgia at number 15 Tennessee. Drew, Georgia have outscored their first 2 opponents 73-13. Tennessee 117-43. That's a combined total for all you non-math majors of 190-56. Bro, it's now time for these Bulldogs and these Volunteers to go to head-to-head, because this is not Eastern Tennessee and Marshall. Kirby Smart, Gunnar Stockton versus Josh Heupel and Joe Aguilar. Talk to me.
This is, I think, a game we talk about every year about week 2, week 3, week 4. Hey, Tennessee, you drop 70 on somebody and then you shut them out. All right, now you're playing an actual team. Show me what you got. It's a Tennessee team that has consistently, but it show that they're able to absolutely just blow teams out of the water. They're able to absolutely just make things happen. When it's a lower opponent, they can do whatever they want. But when it becomes the teams that are maybe projected to be better than them or close to them, you kind of just get this Tennessee team that can't score. Maybe they can play some good defense, but the offense just doesn't get going. They sometimes sneak wins. They sometimes don't. And so I think what I'm looking for most here is, can you be convincing in a win? And I think that's the biggest thing for Tennessee. For Georgia, listen, man, I don't know what I'm getting from you. I don't know what I'm getting from this new team. And so it looks like this Georgia team maybe not as great as in years past, but I think this is the time that we're going to see it. And so I think it's mostly about Tennessee proving that this is a year that they can actually take the SEC by storm and control their own narrative. Or can Georgia show, hey, we just retool, we can outcoach these guys no matter the players, no matter where we are, home or away. And it's going to be fun regardless, because I think these games are always fun.
I have 2 things. I have to kind of stop the show real quick. It is your birthday, which also means it's your responsibility to call out your own segments. So we completely bypassed your quarterback review for the week and started into the new week. We'll circle back after we're done with this. I 100% agree with you. This Georgia team is a bit unproven. with a younger quarterback. We don't know exactly what, like you said, what we're going to see against bigger teams. And I mean, I don't want to repeat what you said for Tennessee, but we've been here so often and year after year that, yeah, that is what it is. What are you going to give us, Tennessee? I think this is because both of these teams are somewhat fresh. I think this is kind of what you talked about with Oklahoma and Michigan, which I'm going to look after this game and I'm going to start looking down the schedule and going, okay, who can piece together here a nice run to the SEC championship? Because an early win like this is going to start to set you up. And when we get further down that SEC schedule and they put those rankings up and they show you the SEC conference rankings, that one loss early on is going to stick out real big right now. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, and if both teams, if it's a close game and either team wins, I'm not really going to have faith in either team, because then when they get up against kind of these top SEC teams like Texas and all them, you are going to be like, oh, okay, now this is an actual test, more so. But if one team takes this game by the collar and actually takes control of this game, then I'm going to point to this team and go, okay, this is the bar that you have set, and this is how I expect you to play the rest of the year.
I am going to 100% agree there. As I told you, Kirby Smart, Gunnar Stockton, we know what Kirby Smart can do. Gunnar Stockton, the young quarterback, Joey Aguilar, a familiar name to some college football fans, the former App State quarterback too, a very talented kid. The key for me is going to be these running backs, okay? Can Star Thompson and Deshaun Bishop keep drives alive for this Tennessee offense and wear down that Bulldog defense? And if this Volunteers defense can slow down the running backs, Nate Frazier and Gunnar Stockton's running ability too, then I think Tennessee will have a chance. More on this later. Me and Drew are going to pick the big college games this weekend as our pick. Our next matchup, hold on 1 second.
I will throw up the graphic while we do that.
No, that's perfect.
Our next...
Here we go. Yeah, absolutely. I'm back. Saturday at 4:30 on the CW, followed by Supernatural and Charmed. Number 18, Florida at number 5, Miami. And I have to take a pause for a second, just real quick, because somebody needs to come in and drop a quick message.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I missed you. Love you.
Get the baseball. I'll be there soon. Okay. So, as I said, following an episode of Charmed and then afterwards an episode of Supernatural, I said number 18, South Florida at number 5, Miami. Drew, quick question for you. Do you know who leads the country in top 25 wins so far this year?
Is it USF?
It is USF with wins. Oh, you ruin it when you just get it right like that. With wins over, at the time, ranked Boise State, and last week, Florida. South Florida is rolling along. Now, Miami is a little bit different. Veteran quarterback, skill guys for days, a defense that is quick and hard hitting. Drew, can the Bulls make it 3 ranked wins in a row, or is the U ready to wave the red flag and tame the Bulls? I'm full of good puns this week.
Yeah, I could see that. This is tough because I love teams like this that are just absolutely electric. They are very disciplined and know exactly how to play in their system, and that's how they beat teams. They don't make mistakes. They don't run wrong routes. They don't miss a blocking assignments. They make sure tackles. This team is absolutely clinical. However, these kind of teams typically are only good for wins against borderline top 25 teams or teams that are kind of unsure of themselves. And so here is kind of the 80-20 scenario here. The 80% scenario, Mario Cristobal and Miami absolutely torch South Florida. They run all over them. They show that this Miami team is much better than they were 1-2 years ago, where they were struggling against more disciplined teams because they were so undisciplined. They blow them out. They show that the talent is much better, but also the discipline is almost there in equivalency, and they're good to go. The 20% is that Mario Cristobal and this Hurricanes team has not learned their lesson over the past 5 years and has said, oh, this South Florida team, yeah, they won against Boise State, but Boise State got ranked because they made the CFP last year. Oh, they beat Florida. Well, Florida's never good, and they always get ranked too high. And they make the mistake of underestimating South Florida and playing sloppy, because that's exactly what this South Florida team wants. They want you to underestimate them. They want you to not play hard against them. They want you to try to rely on your ability against them, because this team is so well coached. They are well disciplined, and this team can sneak up on you. Do I think it's going to happen? I will let you know when we pick. However, I think that Miami has to be very, very careful and be very, very motivated in this game, because this USF team will take any opportunity against you and absolutely make you look foolish. Ask Boise State and ask Florida.
So if you I don't know which side of the no came from there from our cousin. And I'm going to shout out Ray, because he did give my son the moment of the show. However, I don't know if you noticed, he tried to slide down in here because he thought he was coming in to be on the show. Like, he did not really, there was only a shout out there. He slid in, he was like, Dad, I'm ready. Not yet, son. Nobody wants to hear about Ryan or Paw Patrol yet. For South Florida, I mean, it's the X factor. It's the quarterback. It's Byron Brown. He's their leading passer with 473 yards and a touchdown. He's also their leading rusher on the year with 31 carries, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's him. That is the X factor right there. He has to play well. He has to play outstanding if South Florida is going to have any chance. For Miami, the game plan is simple. Don't let one man hurt you. That's it. Okay? Don't let a defense that's already had for South Florida, that's already had 4 turnovers, and get you fumbling, throwing the ball around. I'm going to save this for predictions. There's a story that goes along with this game, and it reminds me of another game from years ago that I'm going to bring up when we do our picks. But all Miami has to do is play good defense, and they'll be okay. All right. I don't like this. Saturday night. Oh, under the lights. With touchdown Jesus in the background. Number 16, Texas A&M travels to South Bend to take on number 8, Notre Dame. This is going to sound very familiar because it's literally the same as 2 weeks ago. This is not last year's team for the Irish. A&M's team is somewhat back from last year. They're going to remember that grinded out loss at home, and they would love to come into Notre Dame Stadium and do the exact same back to us. There was positives last week out of the passing game. CJ Carr, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 60 through completion rating, but none of it matters if this running game of Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price don't get going. They were held under 80 yards combined in our loss to Miami. Okay. That does not get it done. Okay. They also have to contend with Mike Elko's offense led by another dual threat quarterback, as all the I know. Another dual threat quarterback for Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, who has 509 passing yards, 7 throwing touchdowns, and 105 rushing yards and a touchdown on the ground this year. Similar game plan for Notre Dame's defense as Miami's. Control the quarterback. Don't let one guy beat you, and you can win this game. However, if they don't get that running game going, we are in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously the loss was something that sucks. Thank you. I'm sure Marcus Freeman has preached. Thank you. For multiple weeks, corrections, making sure that we got it down pat and got it locked down. And also, I kind of want to put this out here. Texas A&M is giving up points. They've given up 46 points over the past 2 games against Utah State and UTSA. Not real, powerhouses when it comes to offense. So you're gonna have chances to score. You also did score 24 against a really good Miami team. So it's not like you got shut out or you got held to less than 10 points. You played really well. And so I think when it comes to it, I think this is a winnable game for the Irish. As long as, I think a lot of people in America have to not think of Notre Dame in years past as they typically have. Because when you look at, old Notre Dame teams like Brian Kelly, when you look at these big game matchups, it was always a question mark of what Notre Dame team was going to show up. It was the Notre Dame team going to be flying around on offense, playing great on defense, doing all these things, or were they going to be sluggish? Were they going to be slow off the ball? Were they not going to be able to get any of the running game going? Yada, yada. This Marcus Freeman era, I think, if anything, has been one thing, and that's consistent. Regardless of what team is being played, honestly, even the Northern Illinois game, regardless of what team is being played, the message is the same. The defense is going to be great. You are going to make a lot of good plays. You are going to put the ball in your playmakers' hands to make plays. And I think that's whether or not you succeed or not. It's whether those players make those plays. And so I think that's what it's going to come down to is, are your playmakers going to make some plays on offense? And that's just, honestly, experience. Have the lessons been learned from week one?
This is single-handedly the worst part about doing the podcast.
Talking about your own team,
having to get up here and actually sit from a perspective of somebody who goes, okay, your team is good, they have flaws, so don't be cocky, but talk positive about your team. I'm scared. Okay, I'm scared every Notre Dame game. Okay, I'm scared we're gonna lose. We could be up 24 and I'd be scared we're gonna lose. So I'm scared. This game makes me nervous, and it's gonna make me nervous until it's over.
And that's very fair.
And I don't want to talk about it anymore. All right, Drew. We do have some good matchups around the rest of the country, though, this week. And I'm going to point them out just like I did last week. The first one, number 12, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Clemson is on full upset alert for me.
Oh, yeah.
They did not look good against LSU. And as I did mention out, struggled for a full half plus against Troy. Watch out for the Yellow Jackets this week. That's Haynes King and them boys. They are coming. The other one, anything you want to mention there before I keep rolling?
No, I think you're absolutely right there. I think this Clemson team at 12 is, I think, still a little highly rated than they should be. And the Georgia Tech team every year is up prime for one or two upsets. So that'll be something I'll keep an eye on.
Another one. It's another SEC matchup. Arkansas at number 17 LSU. There's these SEC upsets happen. There's multiple ones every year. Does it start this week, Drew? One to watch for, but we're going to have it in our games to picks, so don't pick it yet. And then lastly, Florida at number 3 LSU. Drew, the people will call us haters, but Brian Kelly's due for a slip up at least once, right? Right? Can Florida bounce back after a tough loss like they really haven't been able to do right now? Who breaks their streak? Can Brian Kelly break a streak of not being able to continue to win these tough games? Can Florida break a streak of not being able to bounce back against other teams? We shall see. So, Drew, how do you want to do these picks? You want to start with these non-ranked games?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so we're going to start right there where what we just talked about. We'll bring it right back because it's fresh. Florida at number 3 LSU. Drew, is Brian Kelly due?
This is a tough one, I think, because Florida out of nowhere will pull up an upset that has you kind of thinking, is Florida good? Is the other team that bad? Did they just slip up? And it's one game a year. And I think the question is this the one game a year that Florida does it? I think they make it interesting. However, I think this Florida team is very similar to Miami of a couple years ago, just insanely undisciplined. I think they're going to ruin it for themselves somehow. I think LSU struggles, and we start to look at them a little bit more closely, but I think they win this one.
I agree. Brian Kelly's due, just not yet. He's going to make you feel good for a couple more weeks, LSU. So I will take LSU as well. We'll move right back up. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Drew, can these Razorbacks make it close? Can they be sneaky against LSU or Ole Miss?
If you gave me the Arkansas of like 3-4 years ago with was like KJ Jefferson big old quarterback, or I could say maybe, but I think that Arkansas just doesn't have the electricity that they had. I think they're good, they're stout, they're gonna bully, some off lines, but that Ole Miss team is insanely talented. I think they're poised to have another kind of contention year where they're going to be floating around the top of the SEC. I think Ole Miss wins this one. I think this might be a track of kind of boring-ish games, but we'll see.
Okay. I'm going to do the most awful hedge ever. I'm going to pick LSU, but some of my bets might lean towards Arkansas, or at least some points towards Arkansas. But I do think at the end of the day, Coach Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss will get it done. I think just like Brian Kelly and LSU, I think Ole Miss's stumbling block is further down the line. And then the other one we talked about before we get to our ranked games, number 12 Clemson at Georgia Tech. Can the Yellow Jackets do it?
If this was the Georgia Tech team of like last year or a couple years ago, yes. But I think this Clemson team, while struggling, is a team that I think turns up in like the fourth quarter and late games. I think it's similar to the Troy game of last week. I think they're going to start slow. I think they're going to start kind of lethargic. But I think end of third, beginning of fourth quarter, I think Clemson pulls away on this one and we go, almost.
This game will be a one possession game. So I will be taking a look at the points and see how they look come down to the closer. But I am also going to take Clemson. I think Dabo ripped into his team. I don't have to wonder that. Excuse me. I know he did. So I'm going to take Clemson as well. Let's get those chalk games out of the way, brother. It's time to get the big ones off the board, and I'm going to be a jerk and put my team last. So we're going to start at the top. Number 6, Georgia at number 15, Tennessee. Our big SEC ranked matchup. Drew, who you got?
I've honestly, as soon as we started talking about this, I had been thinking of my answer since we started. This Georgia team, I think, will pose a threat later on in the season. However, I think this Tennessee team is established. I think Tennessee being at home is a massive benefit to them. I think this Georgia team is a little too inexperienced and just not ready for these kind of big games. Georgia keeps it close, but I think Tennessee puts them away, gets the upset, and pays the fine for knocking down the goalposts.
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
They're going to pay the fine for cutting down the goalposts and carrying it into the river.
So you're going to take Tennessee. I apologize. Nate's comment distracted me. And I wasn't sure who exactly he was talking about. I like this Georgia team. I like this Georgia team a lot. I don't like this Tennessee team as much. I actually think that Georgia is going to go into Neyland, and I think they're going to upset Tennessee. So I'm going to take Georgia, our first disagreement of the week, which I love because I don't know how much more how much more disagreeing we're going to have. The middle one on the CW, as we said, following an episode of Charmed and before an episode of Supernatural, number 18, South Florida at number 5, Miami. You knew I was going to hammer that one today. Drew, you got South Florida or you got Miami? You got the Bulls or the Hurricanes?
I want to go with South Florida so badly, but I can't call the Hurricanes undisciplined anymore. I think that they've really turned kind of ahead here. They blew it later in the season, but I think that even in the beginning of the season, especially games like this, I think that they are fully determined to continue to prove everyone wrong. And so I think Miami wins this one. I don't think it's a blowout, but I don't think it's close. Miami is just going to be unstoppable. I think that defense is insane. I think that offense can get going at a moment's notice. Give me Miami, but I will be very upset if that comes true because I really am pulling for South Florida on this one.
If I hadn't picked differently than you on the Tennessee-Georgia game, for strategy alone, I would pick South Florida because I really, really want them to win and leaning towards it. Excuse me. I think this Miami defense is one of the most underrated in the country if you don't think that they're a top 3 defense, because I think they're that good. I think Ohio State and Texas are good. I think Miami's defense at the end of the year, we're going to look and go, oh my goodness, they're just as good. I think the defense takes care of it and rides it late. Give me the Hurricanes, which brings us to the last one. Number 16, Texas A&M at number 8, Notre Dame. Drew, who you got?
Yeah, I think I kind of alluded to it a little bit. Notre Dame is a very consistent team. Notre Dame plays to their opponent every week now instead of playing below them or anything like that. I think this A&M team is worse defensively. I think this A&M team is worse offensively than Miami. Miami in both aspects. You are at home. That's going to be an advantage. You love a good night game down in South Bend. Give me Notre Dame. I think you go 2 for 2 and you sweep A&M in the home and home.
Pray for my anxiety, pray for my liver. This is so, if you know me, you know that this is just not me. This is not how I do things. This is not how I roll. But damn it, we got a podcast to do, and this is my squad. There's no way in hell I'm going any other way. Give me Notre Dame. Don't make me 0-2 on the podcast of having to pick these games and pick you, because this is become a real bad habit that I will just scrap the whole picking thing if this becomes a bad jinx for my team, or I'll just start picking against us every week. But give me my Irish. Come on, CJ Carr. Come on, Love. Come on, Price. Let's get the running game going and let's get it rocking. So I got our picks locked in. So that's Notre Dame for both of us. So we are chalk across the board, except for me smartly picking against you, because I had a feeling it was going to go that way in the Tennessee-Georgia game. So that'll be our deciding game to see what is happening. We are 1-1 in our picks. I took college week 1. Drew took the NFL week 2. And before we get to the NFL, Drew, I skipped over you, but it's your birthday. So we'll head back to it real quick. Recap Drew's quarterback carousel. No, Drew's quarterback Heisman watch.
Yes, and I Heisman watch I think gets a little bit too, because I think honestly I just love watching quarterbacks just sling the football. Maybe down later in the season we'll do a Heisman watch, but I think now we're just celebrating quarterbacks.
Love it.
Okay, first up at the top, Jaden Maivia, USC quarterback, 412 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Absolutely was slinging the ball. Really like his style of play, by the way. Dylan Lonergan from Boston College, 390 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Absolutely fantastic display there. A regular of the show about 2 years ago, Noah Fafita out of Arizona, 373 passing yards and 5 touchdowns.
Stay tuned.
A regular of this segment, as he was there last week, Sawyer Robinson, again on the sheet, but this time in a win, 440 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Early Heisman chatter for this kid here, absolutely lighting it up against 2 Power 4 teams. So very much want to look for there. If you are feeling the air of the Arkansas upset, this does not hurt your case. Taylon Green, 39 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 151 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. Fantastic there. Can do it both ways.
And give me that last one.
And someone that I really don't like because he beat my team, but I understand. Dylan Raiola for Nebraska, 364 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. These dudes absolutely slung it. Amazing quarterback play again. And I will say, though, for the second week in a row, your quarterbacks that we talked about in the beginning of the year, really not showing us Heisman material right now. And it's going to be interesting as the more difficult games come in. Are these guys going to be able to step up? Or are they going to kind of fade in the background to some of these guys? And time will have to tell.
I'm glad my bets are doing good, because I am desperate to try to keep up that how quickly, once we start clipping this segment, it is going to go off and it is going to catch fire once we get this out in the algorithm, because you catching quarterbacks that are hot, but not necessarily the guys that are on everyone's radar right now. Jaden Maivia is the reason that The other quarterback transferred out of USC. Shout out to my guy Dylan Raiola. Remember, beware of the children of the Cornhuskers. Okay, I told you that. And Noah Fafita and Drew. Speaking of Noah Fafita in Arizona, I got a little something for that here in a second, but we're going to start with Big Bros, Big Bets, NCAA football. It is week 3, not week 2. Shame on me for not clicking that part of the box and updating that. But here is your top 25. Some big spreads there. Couple I will say that kind of do stand out to me is that top one, that Oregon and Northwestern. Northwestern's not good. Oregon is really good. Alabama, Wisconsin's always a weird one. I told you Clemson, it's only 3.5. Georgia, 4.5. I like Missouri, Louisiana, minus 27.5. And as you see there at the bottom, LSU are 7.5 point favorites over Florida. Notre Dame is a 6.5 point favorite at home. That scares me big time. And Ken Specials, your non-top 25 games. Those two at the top are Friday night. If you are going to put some bets in, just pay attention to that. That is Syracuse and Colgate. 37.5 is a lot. I'm just saying that's what it is. And then Houston and Colorado. Houston only 4.5 point favorites there. Some other ones then into Saturday. Buffalo are 22.5 point favorites over Kent State. That almost went into my locks. I don't know why I think this Kent State team, for some reason, is going to be better in this game after they have to play 2 ranked teams back to back, one of them being Florida State in the upcoming weeks, but I don't know. UConn are 10.5 point favorites against Drew's Delaware team that he likes because they score points. North Carolina, Richmond, that Kentucky Eastern Michigan game is nice. UAB and Akron. UAB, 10.5 point favorites. And then I'm putting them back up there on the board real quick just because they did get knocked off the top 25 list a bit there. Arizona State, 14.5 point favorites against Texas State. So I wonder if they might bounce back. Some interesting things to spread into your parlay, but it's time for it. Let's get to your locks and your upsets. Only 5 locks this week. I was not going to pressure myself to find a 6th because I was going to force myself. I will be honest. It was going to be Kent State plus 22.5 against Buffalo. I just couldn't fully pull the trigger on it, but my locks. Hey, remember that Noah Fafita guy? I love this Arizona team to upset Kansas. I give me them straight up plus 105. Give me them with the points plus 1.5. I don't care. Lock in Arizona. Memphis versus Troy over a 50.5. Both Memphis can score. Troy can score or get scored on. I think we can find it there. I already talked about it. I know it's a risky play. Oregon just dropped 69 points on somebody. I think they can beat Northwestern by 30. Eastern Michigan versus Kentucky over a 46.5. That's a low over. I don't think this Eastern Michigan team is very good. I think this Kentucky team is okay. I think they can score a lot of points and give up enough to get us there. And then the other gamble of the week, but I like it. Missouri don't let me down. 27.5 against Louisiana. Louisiana is not. Please don't listen to this, but they're not good. Missouri is really good. I think they're okay. If you want to put those together, you're an absolute lunatic. Although I did it every time, so I understand. But if you want to sprinkle some of those in, my favorite one of those, though, is the top one, Arizona over Kansas State. If I didn't like it so much, it would be an upsets, but I loved it. Now, to your upsets, I got 4 for you. I do like them a lot. I've got Georgia Tech over Clemson. I like them. Not enough to put them in the locks, but I do like them. Give me Georgia Tech over Clemson, plus 132. Arkansas over Ole Miss, plus 210. Vanderbilt. I'm a horrible person. I did not have this ready. West Virginia. Obviously, you see the odds there. Okay, there we go. Backyard brawl for West Virginia. West Virginia versus Pitt. It's a rivalry game. It's a close one. West Virginia plus 220. I do like it. I do. And then, did you help me or no? You didn't help me?
Did not help you.
On my birthday. That's okay. Number 11, and I told you South Carolina was off. I lied to you. Number 11, South Carolina, minus 3.5 to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt plus 138. You never know. I like this South Carolina team, but every time I like them, it's usually when they're the underdogs, and they usually let me down when they're favorites. And they usually let all of us down when they're favorites. So just some sneaky upsets to look at. If you want to, I took the Army one solo by itself. That's probably what I would do. Pick the one of or the two of these that you believe in most and throw them separately. Maybe sprinkle in one of my locks in with them and try to make some money this week. All right.
Yeah.
We're running long. I'm going to miss a lot of baseball today, but it's okay. It's time for your week 1 NFL review. You got a graphic for that or no? I knew you would.
Of course I do.
And Drew, the first week of the season always brings us a couple of things. One of them is drama, renewed traditions, and whatever the hell we're calling the amazingness that was Ravens versus Bills.
Oh.
So let's hit all of them. We'll start where your surprise is. Colts big over the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Raiders over the Patriots. And I would say a surprise in a win, the Broncos struggling against the Titans. Which of those 3 results was your biggest surprise of the weekend?
Oh, I think it's got to be the Colts. I mean, you look at this Colts team and you look at they're kind of lacking offensively in terms of
Colts
weapons.
Or how bad Miami looked?
I think it's both, honestly. You look at the Colts offense, not super great, not a lot of weapons, not a great quarterback to really, distribute the ball. And then you look at Miami, again, talented offense, flies around. So at worst, you thought maybe it was going to be a close, low-scoring game or a close, high-scoring game, depending on kind of which way you looked at it. This wasn't close from minute 1. This Indianapolis team looked absolutely 1,000 miles better than the Miami Dolphins. Tua looked absolutely lost out there, did not look like he was doing really great. And so now you kind of have to look at this Miami team and you go, is this what you're going to get for the rest of the season? Was this a one-off, or is this something that we're going to be seeing future in the point? Because that was bad. That was probably the worst performance of the week.
Daniel Jones, I got to give him props. He played well. Indianapolis played well. I'm ready to buy some. I'm ready to dump some Miami stock and buy some Colt stock, but I need one more week because there are fluke results every year, week 1, that we look back at and go, yeah, that was dumb. We shouldn't have paid attention to that. And I need one more week, and I'll be willing to lose some on not buying yet on the Colts and not selling quick enough on Miami because I don't like what's there in Miami, and it smells and it's funny, but that offense could explode for 40-something points next week, for 50-some points easily. And Daniel Jones could float right back to where Daniel Jones has always been. So We'll see. Although I will say this, I'm higher on the Colts than I am bad on the Dolphins. I think I liked what I saw out of the Colts. I think Miami can turn it around. Drew, there was also renewed traditions this week. And that is the Browns and Falcons finding a way to lose a game when they shouldn't.
So I'm assuming you want me to talk about the Browns here.
I mean, don't derail us too much. The game, my son's baseball game has already started.
No, I think everyone's going to blame the kicker, and he was definitely a large part of it.
For which game?
However, there was 4 key drops in that game, and if you have more than 1 key drop, that's a problem. 2 key drops, both turned into interceptions after they bounced off the receiver chest. Then 2 other drops that were back-to-back drops on 3rd and 4th down to not get the conversion to get you back into field goal range. Your rushing attack was also abysmal. I think Jerome Ford, now with the signing of Quishon Judkins, has completely lost any sort of touches he's going to get in the backfield after that performance. And so, yes, you want to say the kicker was bad, and he rightly was. However, you had plenty of opportunities to not put the game in the hands of a rookie kicker. And I think that while he should have made those kicks, I think you also have to look at your offense and say, we could have made it so we didn't have to put it in his hands. And I think you have to look at that as well. And I think that's a major part of it as well. But yes, obviously make the kicks and none of this matters. However, yeah, I think the offense is still a little rusty and still needs to work out some things because there was a lot of stuff that went wrong that I think you can point to and say, well, that also didn't really help it either.
No, I agree. I'm not going to dump on you anymore. You kept it close in a game that you probably shouldn't have. And weeks down the line, when this Cincinnati team is really humming along, it might look different. So props to you for that. You'll beat some bad teams. I'm going to say that. Like the way this team plays and as good as that defense is, you're going to beat bad teams. You're going to upset a good team here and there. And then the really good teams are going to beat you. And that's just kind of how it looks out for this Browns.
Oh yeah,
team.
we're gonna play well enough to just not get in the playoffs, but get a bad draft pick. That's how it is.
Falcons, same issue. I mean, putting it in the hands of a veteran kicker and not coming through was disappointing, but they had plenty of opportunities to do it well. We had one last renewed tradition, and that is very simply Aaron Rodgers is really bleeping good when he's playing quarterback with a decent O-line. He's the quarterback of my generation. Not winner, but the greatest of my generation to throw a ball around. And the GOATs themselves and the experts themselves agree with me. So I'm riding with them, go argue with them. Like Tom Brady himself says it, that's the greatest dude to see that he's ever watched throw a pass and play the quarterback position. Aaron Rodgers is really damn good when the all-line is good. And he's got a defense like that too.
Oh yeah, listen, plenty has been said about Aaron Rodgers, and I don't want to harp too much on that. However, what I do want to kind of show there is that 32 by the New York Jets. And honestly,
I said good defense, but they didn't play well.
I will say I will give the Jets some credit because that offense I think looked 1,000 times better just play calling wise and being able to move the football. However, yeah, that Steelers defense did not look good whatsoever, and that's something to kind of monitor as the weeks go by. Was that a fluke? Just because they really didn't have it together or couldn't control Justin Fields? Or is this going to be a theme where we see Aaron Rodgers going to have to start outscoring teams? Because I think that's where you're going to start to have a problem.
I agree with you there. The defense definitely has to play better. Justin Fields, I got to go check the odds. I should have put a bet in preseason. Whatever the odds are for comeback player of the year, go get you some of that because that looks a lot better than it's looked from him. And it's looked a lot better from the Jets than it's looked to. Real quick, I'll address it. I'm not going to duck my smoke. Thursday night, Eagles 24, Cowboys 20. Shout out to Jalen Carter for Hawk Tua and spitting on that thing and getting himself ejected. We appreciate that. Man, listen, I wasn't upset. I thought it was going to be way worse. I'm not going to lie. And we hung in there. I think this Eagles team definitely has a Super Bowl hangover. There is a reason it's very, very hard, and not many teams are ever able to do this, except for literally like Patriots and Chiefs in the modern days right now. It's really hard to just stay that hungry and be that healthy. But listen, I think I'm gonna be sniffing around the wild card, and I'm gonna be okay with that because that offense looks electric. And guess what? Spoiler alert: the defense looks exactly the damn same.
I think there was a lot of variables in that game that I think.
Yeah, Jalen Carter not being there.
Well, that just the chaos, it being a rivalry game, week 1 on a Thursday. There were so many variables that, regardless of the score line, I think I was just going to throw it out and say, all right, let me watch week 2 and see what these guys are really about. And then the game happened, and I went, okay, yeah, definitely throwing this out the window. But no, listen, impressive from both sides and positives, but a lot of positives, a lot of negatives from both sides. And I think you talking about the Colts team is the same that way I'm going to talk about both of you guys. Give me week 2 because I don't know what is going to be a consistent problem, a consistent positive, and what was just a one-off that we're never going to see again.
No, I agree with you. Listen, I'm week to week with that team, so I'm not going to disagree with you on that. And we'll see what we got from the Eagles. It's just something to look at. Not saying they're not going to be good and may not still win the division. Just something to think about. All right, now last one, and we'll get through this one quickly because we're a Thursday show reviewing games from a week ago, so we need to get to this week. Bills and Ravens. All I'm going to say is this: this should be like the UFC in boxing, where we just get a rematch clause and it instantly comes back because I 100% need to see this game again. You have another message to respond to.
Thank you.
I need this again. I need it in the playoffs. Sorry, my team's in the NFC, so them being in the playoffs doesn't affect me, and I don't care. I need these teams in the playoffs. I need this game again. Drew, I need it.
So first, I want to preface one of the best games I've seen. I think this is right up there with the Chiefs-Bills game in the AFC Championship game.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic game, back and forth. I
But-
want to repeat what I said last week, because when you asked me who was going to win this game, I said the Bills, because no matter how well or poorly Lamar Jackson plays, the Ravens in this era cannot win big games, and it was shown again. Everyone, including the own Bills fans, counted the Bills out. The Ravens probably counted him out a little bit, and then you see Josh Allen show why he was MVP last year. That man can put a ball anywhere he pleases. It is absolutely fantastic, and all Lamar Jackson could do on the sideline was sit and watch, and it was glorious as a Browns fan.
I love that. Two things, and then we'll get to this week. Number one, Josh Allen had like over 200 and something yards passing in the fourth quarter alone. And second, shout out to my guy, Bill Simmons, because he's the first person I hear coined it. Now I hear people saying it. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are just James Harden and the Rockets. A lot of points, a lot of flash, don't win when it counts. And shout out to Nate throwing out, here's our stat boy, first ever 41-40 end score, and you're a degenerate because I know that's why you know that. But that's all right, it doesn't matter. All right, Drew, let's run through it, and then we'll get to my bets to wrap it up. Let's get to week 2.
Yes, real quick. Thursday night
Tonight.
Big game here. Commanders versus Packers at Lambeau. I think this is going to be an electric game.
Might have a 50% profit boost and a no sweat bet parlay, 2 of them on this game.
Absolutely. And I don't know why the Chargers are still there. I apologize. You can see that. But it's supposed to be the Ravens.
Kind of
it's supposed to be the Ravens.
That's all right. We got Browns and Ravens. A rival.
Flacco's return to
Are you scared?
Baltimore.
Are you scared?
Am I scared? Not scared, because even if we get blown out, I'll go, yeah, that tracks.
That's fine. Rams at Titans. Hang on, Cam Ward. We've got Bengals at Bengals. Jaguars at Bengals. That should be a nice high-scoring affair. Buffalo at Jets. Normally, I would say, handled, no problem. But I think the Jets are going to be able to score a couple points. I will say that for sure. New England at Miami. Here's your test, Drew. Which one of these 0-1 teams is gonna be able to bounce back against each other? Yes.
Yeah, I just don't know who that's gonna be, and I hope it's not 6-3 final score.
San Francisco at New Orleans. Mac Jones in this week for quarterback for the 49ers. Brock Purdy will be out this week, so we'll see. I don't really think that's gonna. I know the Saints. I don't think it's gonna make a difference. I think San Francisco will be all right. Giants at Cowboys. Yeah, listen, I don't know what the over is, but take it because this is going to be a nice high-scoring one. Bears at Lions. Let's see if the Bears, after a respectable Monday night performance, but still a loss, can try to bounce back and at least play a respectable game against the Lions. Seahawks at Steelers. This will be a test because I know this Seahawks defense is better than the Jets defense playing-wise, but we'll see. I like what Aaron Rodgers is cooking right now. Your 4:00 window, Broncos at Colts. That's a fun one to keep an eye on. Panthers at Cardinals. That is not. Eagles at Chiefs. Your late Sunday game. Listen, I'm just being honest. If you have a chance to watch one of those 3 games, you're watching Eagles at Chiefs. Let's just be honest. Okay. Because that's where I will be. Sunday night. Ooh, okay. We got Michael Penix Jr. and the Falcons at JJ McCarthy and the Falcons, or in the Vikings. And then I do like this, though. A Monday night doubleheader. I could care less what the team is. Give me 2 games. Buccaneers at Texans. Chargers at Raiders.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think the 4:00 slate is really interesting because you could have a lot of good games or you could have a lot of bad games here. I think the only one that's definitely going to be good is Eagles Chiefs, obviously.
No. Now that I said this, Carolina, Arizona, it's going to be a 34-38 shootout.
Right, but it also could be the chance of being 13-6 final score. And I think all of those games have the chance of scoring 70 or scoring 10. it's one of those weird weeks that I think you just kind of have to see how teams are still figuring out, kind of their offenses and stuff. But still going to tune in, still going to love it because I think these are great games.
I will say last week we were all exhausted. First week of football mixed in with college, the Monday night games, the Sunday night game was great. All of that. You're going to be able to get some sleep Sunday and Monday night. Unless you're a fan of these teams, you'll just be able to throw these on in the background. I think Chargers will handle. I think, actually take that back. Buccaneers Texans does have a chance to be a good game. I think you'll be able to fall asleep once the Chargers game gets locked in because I think that'll be a blowout. I do have one more for you. I wouldn't leave if you do want to take some action. I got the Rams, I've got the Bengals, I've got the Steelers, I've got the Ravens, I've got the Bills, Cardinals, Bucks, and Chargers. If you want to put them together, 24-57. Oh, goodness. If you want to split them up, spread them around, mix them in with some locks, however you want to handle it. All right, Drew, let's wrap it up real quick. We did not have any EPL this weekend. International break. Shout out to the USA men. 2-0 win over Japan. Won me a bet. A lot of winning bets this week. Not many as I needed, but a couple. Shout out to the USA men. Got their things done, or got the thing done. Looking to improve off of some bad results. But Drew, the EPL is back. Remind the people how the table stands.
Yes, and obviously just 3 games into the season, so very, very early. But obviously your top 4.
Look how high up there I am.
Liverpool winning all 3 games with 9 points. My Chelsea, 2 wins and a draw, but obviously without Cole Palmer for I think at least another week, so we will see how that goes there. You have
we'll leave it for next week.
You have that is a whole other scenario that isn't even counting this season. Anyways, you have a 5-way tie with 6 points. Arsenal, Tottenham, Everton, Sunderland, Bournemouth, just an absolute crazy kind of spread of teams there. And then you kind of get to the middle pack. Manchester United there with 4 points. And then you get all the way down to the bottom. Wolves yet to secure a point, which isn't a surprise to anyone. What is surprising is the next 3. Aston Villa only with the draw. Fulham and Newcastle with 2 draws out of 3 games. Ken, what team, place, points, anything that really stands out to you as surprising or telling, I should say?
I'll rapid fire through. I told you Chelsea was a threat. They look like a threat. Sunderland, please. It's too early to really say too much there, but I'm just happy that they are up there. Aston Villa, they're in trouble. I know they made a lot of signings. Those signings better come through, and I think they eventually will. And Wolves is going to get relegated, like I said.
All right. Let's move into next week then, because I think we hit everything there. Top fixtures of match week 4. Obviously, we have both of our teams. I have the much less scarier game as I travel to Brentford, as Brentford has been struggling. In between Nottingham Forest and Arsenal, Nottingham Forest just sacking their manager Munoz in exchange for ex-Tottenham manager and Postecoglou. We will see how that team fares. Obviously, soccer teams, especially Prem teams, very, very dangerous post-manager sacking. We will see how that goes there.
How long
always due for an upset.
We have to find how long it is till they play Tottenham too, because he'll be ready to absolutely whoop their ass. And I'll finish it for you. The Manchester Derby, Manchester United at Manchester City. Man, go ahead.
Can I say this? This is I don't remember the last time this was, but this is the first time in a while, if we go back, that you are ahead of Manchester City in points. This is honestly something that I forgot that we should have talked about. Manchester City, 1 win and 2 losses in 3 games here. Not looking great to start off, leaking a lot of goals, honestly, and more important, not scoring a lot of goals here. And so, Ken, you come in, you're technically the hotter team. You're coming in, you're playing a little bit better, but obviously this Manchester City team at any moment's notice can turn it on and score 3. How do you feel coming into this game?
Hey, Sean, I'm going to quote the great philosopher Nardo Wick. You don't want to smoke with me. You don't want it. Manchester is red. It was painted red last year at the end of the season. It will remain red. I don't know how, but somehow this team is not going to give up enough more goals than they score, and we're going to somehow get it done in the Manchester Derby. At least I hope, for my sanctity and my sanity, it will be. I don't know if that game is Saturday or Sunday. I pray that it's Sunday. Because
that game is Sunday at 11:30.
Okay, I need to spread out Notre Dame and Manchester United. They cannot be on the same day. It does too much to my anxiety and to my heart. Listen, why wouldn't I be confident? I don't know. I got no reason to not be confident. I know we lost in the Carabao Cup. Whatever. I don't care now that I'm not in it. It's worthless. So sure. I hope City look vulnerable. This is the time to clip them. If not, they're gonna get on a roll. So I hope I'm not the start of it.
No, I think it's a very cautious take there. I think rightfully so, because it's early. It's only 3 games in, but like you said, you want to attack this Manchester City now before they start rattling off win after win. So we will obviously see there. But I'm just glad that Prem is back. Listen, love me some international soccer. A lot of teams qualified for the World Cup. Also, I guess I want to shout it out because we are a soccer podcast as well. The official entry for the first draw of the World Cup has been opened. Basically, as long as you, I got us in. Okay. If you have a FIFA ID, and which literally just means going onto FIFA.com and signing up with the username and password, and you currently carry a Visa card, you can enter for a raffle, for a draw between the 10th and the 19th to get the opportunity to buy World Cup tickets. Those will be able to be bought in early October. They will send something out. But if you are planning on going to a World Cup game, I highly suggest putting your name into this. They kind of put stuff out. It's going to be more dynamic pricing. And so you are going to want to get in tickets now before they get outrageous. So if you have any even thought of buying a World Cup ticket next year, put your name in now.
100%. Our names are in. I can't wait. I hope. All right. That'll do it for us here on the Straub Bro Sports Show. Big bro needs to get his butt over to coach ASAP. Little bro, happy birthday, man. I love you so much. I'm so glad I got to do this with you on your birthday. Nothing other than us having some beers and watching sports. The only other thing I'd rather be doing is talking with you on this thing. So I'm proud to have been able to do it with you on your birthday. Happy birthday. Go enjoy your birthday. I love you. I will see you Saturday for that Guardians game. And that'll do it for us here on the Straub Bro Sports Show. We absolutely love all of you guys for checking in with us, tapping in with us in the comments and everywhere. Ray, I'll be tapping in with you and Nate later. We're going to get the FIFA going, baby. And absolutely, Nate, we appreciate you and love you too. That'll do it for us. As always, please remember to love.
Ken's got fire and a wild hot take. Andrew's stats make the whole place shake. Laughing loud when your team goes down. Straub boys run this sports town.